This is one example of how much you can make in sync licensing, producing production music for a music library. What's good? Welcome to the channel where we talk about music licensing, music production, and music business. If you love any of the previously mentioned, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content and hit that bell icon so you know exactly when that new content drops. So I wanted to give you a real life example of how much you could potentially see when producing music for a music library. Now, I want to start off by saying this isn't every situation. The range and how much you can get paid in sync is so wide, it's crazy. Like, it's zero to like, well, I don't want to say zero because hopefully you're at least getting royalties, but as far as upfront money, it can be zero to tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, depending on the commercial or campaign or whatever. But I want to give you a real life example that I've personally had to at least give you some insight on something that could potentially happen in your career or on your journey in sync licensing. So this specific track that I created has been placed in a few different shows so far. The latest one was a TMZ, TMZ Presents No BS, Harry and Meghan or something like that. All of that controversy that was surrounding that whole relationship.
December 2016, Sun publishes a front page story, world exclusive. They got the first photo of Harry and Meghan out in London, and they have sources telling them that they've been dating for a little while. The Sun publishes the first.
So TMZ did a special on it, and then I think it was like a Tubi special or something like that. But it was used on that recently. I think it was used on Love and Hip Hop some time ago, and maybe like a couple other shows, I'm not sure. But how the track came about was I was approached by a library to do a few tracks that were pretty much tension hip hop or hip hop tension, whatever you want to call it. They wanted a specific style, so mostly hip hop drums with a bunch of strings and stuff like that. So I was like, dope, let's do it. So for this project, the library paid me $675 per track. So I did 3 tracks for them, so that ended up being a little over $2,000 up front to produce the music and send it to the library. This is before it even got placed or they even knew exactly where it was going. They was just like, hey, you know, let's do a work for hire. This particular situation was a work for hire situation, meaning they paid me $670 or $75 per track. But now, since it was work for hire, I don't participate in any more upfront sync fees, but I only get the royalties, and I'll get the royalties forever, and I get 100% of the writer share of royalties. But that's a work for hire situation. I probably could have said, no, you know, don't pay me the $675 per track and let me participate in upfront sync fees. That probably could have went that way, but it didn't. I figured, hey, let's get a few bucks out of it. So that's what I did. So I got paid a couple thousand to do the tracks up front. And then now the tracks are getting placed on shows and things like that. And now I'm generating royalties, and I'll probably generate thousands more in royalties over time from these tracks being used on these TV shows and networks and things like that, or, you know, wherever they end up. It could be video games or movies or whatever, you know, sometime down the road. So that's that. You know, imagine getting paid a couple grand to sit and make some tracks that you're gonna make anyway as a producer, send them off, and now these tracks are out there working for you. They're generating revenue for you, and you're getting paid that every quarter from your PRO. It's not a bad deal, especially if you're doing more than 3 tracks a year or a month or whatever. Like, you can knock out a decent number of tracks at $675 and be okay. Especially like if it's work for hire, just go make more tracks that, you know, may not be work for hire, and then you participate in some upfront sync fees or whatever. So that's that. That's what that deal looked like and how it was structured. So yeah, I'll get royalties in perpetuity. So yeah, so let's dig into the track and break down how I created it. Wouldn't that be fun to see? So let's dig into it. Oh, by the way, before we get into the breakdown, if you want to know each step you need to take to start getting your music placed in TV and film, then go to clintproductions.com/6steps and download my free 6-step guide. I'll leave the link in the description as well. And it's also going to give you the top mistakes to avoid so you don't make all the dumb mistakes I made that made it take way too long to start getting my music placed in TV and film. So make it not take that long. Download the free guide. All right, so the first thing I started with was these bass strings. And obviously I didn't go through and like rename my tracks because all of these are named brass and I have no brass in here. It's literally all strings. Anyways, so this is what I started with. And that's it. And then we added these here to give it a little bit more movement. These are staccato. Yeah, all these strings are from String Sessions Pro 2. Then we added, I kind of added this last, but it's just kind of placed here. But I added this for the hook. It's kind of like a top line with some a higher string. All right, then we got these. Kind of like the harmony. So we got those in there, and then we have these. It's more of a melody. Again, just giving me something that I can play with in the verses. So when I'm taking things out in each verse, you know, I have some different melodies and things like that that I can play with. So we have that. And then on the second half of the hook, I doubled up on the plucks. Actually, these are supposed to be plucks. I don't know why they're changing my, let me know in the comments if you ever deal with some of these contact libraries, or the native instruments libraries, the strings specifically. I have to go in and like reselect pizzicato for it to sound like pizzicato. So let me know if you ever deal with that in the comments and if you found a way to not deal with that. That's what it's supposed to sound like. That was super weird. So then I doubled up on these. Let me see if it did it to these plugs. It didn't do it to those. Okay, so you got that. Let's solo all of these. Throw in drums. I think it's some type of bass in there. Let me see. I don't know if it's quite an 808, but it's just like one note. No, it's just the kick. So with this kick that I used, it had like kind of like a sub note in there. So I didn't even throw like a bass in there because it honestly it didn't need it. And I didn't filter. I don't think I filtered it out. No. So like in the EQ, which I don't know why it's not showing on my screen. I got to fix that. But on the EQ, it's not even showing. I didn't even filter it out. Like usually I'll filter my kicks out if I have an 808 just to leave room for the 808. I'll filter out some of those low end frequencies. But no, I didn't do that because it had everything it needed in this. That's it. Couple percussion sounds. And then here's an old plugin I don't have anymore. I was using Slate Digital a virtual mix rack, and then I canceled my subscription. And I canceled it because I wasn't using a lot of the stuff in there. It was only like certain things that I really, really loved. And it wasn't bad. Like, they have some solid plugins, but there was like a few, like the FGX for mastering. I used that. And I think it's like some other things, some compressors that they had. So I just went and bought the stuff that I use all the time and just did a, perpetuity license, and then canceled the, the subscription. So yeah. So, and then you have the whole track here. Ending. And then they definitely used the Sting ending in the last, the TMZ presents, or no BS or something like that. So let's play the track from the top. So it started with a quick intro, no more than 12 seconds. It goes into the verse, builds up to the hook, breaks down the second verse, builds back up. So let's play it from the top. Shout out to the strings, playing right this time. Breaks down, and we build back up. I think the riser, I forgot to mention the riser I used here. I think that's from Rise and Hit, Native Instruments. And that's it. Let me double check this. Yeah, Rise and Hit, Pure Violins was the one I used. And then for drums, I like to throw a smack attack from Waves on my drum sum track or drum bus. And this one, I use like the drum loop friendly preset. And I think it just glues the drums together nicely. And, you kind of get the accentuation of the transients from the drums. So they slap a little harder. They smack. It's called smack attack. So they help your drums smack. So definitely worth checking out. I'll leave a link in the description to that. That's like one of my favorite plugins to throw on drums, is that smack attack from Waves. So shout out to Waves and, creating stuff that helps our drums smack. So hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown and just a brief explanation of, what you can kind of expect in the sync space and doing production music for libraries and things like that. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that super thanks as well. Also, if you want to see like behind the scenes and my process of me actually working on briefs as they come in real time for sync, then consider joining this channel and becoming a member, where you'll get exclusive access to, member only streams while I'm working on this stuff, and some exclusive behind the scenes videos that no one else can see if they're not a member. So hit the join button next to my profile and you'll get the sauce. All right, that's it. I'm out. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.